So I just wanted to say, if you ever wanted to play like a VR Diablo with the Dark Souls kind of mix, like this game is pretty much it. There's so much loot to go around. There's so many abilities to grab and learn and skills, a ton of cool unique weapons. And yeah, like I had a blast playing this game. So let's get started by looking at the menu. So here you can see all your equipment and your items and levels and whatever. So you can see your HP, your MP, your primary level, which is going to be strength, dexterity, intellect, and then it says at a 50, so 50 is the max level. Make sure you like try and get an idea of what you want to do early on because you cannot respec. That's one of the things that keeps this game from being perfect, unfortunately. But yeah, just a heads up, I wish I would have known this because yeah, I messed up my build pretty early on, just trying to go everything. Secondary is these stats down here: vitality, wisdom, luck, and then it has a pretty decent like help system. So yeah, if you want to know what those stats do, you can kind of come over here to the help section, click on abilities. So strength is for fists, axe, swords, etc. Like you can just read the list. Dex is for daggers, bows. Intellect is going to be for magic builds. The secondary stats: vitality, max strength. So what it was doing for me was just increasing my max health. I don't know, maybe there's talents that make it do more. Wisdom, max mana. There was a talent to make it give like increased mana regen. Luck, increased crit chance, item drop rate, stuff like that. And so yeah, you can see your armor down here, your resistances, physical, fire, like all the elements and stuff. So there are only two pieces of armor you can equip, which are the gloves and the helmet. And so you can see like the rarity. So I have legendaries on, so it has an L next to them. And yeah, you can see like 5 rows of stats and then the legendary ability, how much armor it gives you. And then the helmet was like a Diablo reference. You can stick like crystals in your forehead for extra stats. The gloves give me cheat death. Basically, if I have mana and I run out of health, it'll just drain my mana instead of letting me die for a couple seconds. And then yeah, your inventory is over here on the right. You can see like all the gear you're picking up and like kind of compare it. It's easier to compare if it's like on the ground, hovering over or whatever. You can see your objects. You can pick up like meat, and you can even like roast it over fire. And yeah, just make sure not to burn it, so you can like eat it to heal or whatever. And then all your ores and everything else like just goes in your inventory. Potions, materials, your quest items. It all gets its own tab. You'll have gold up here. It wasn't used for much. You can kind of just gamble on random loot. So just gamble as much as you can in the game. And then your magic here, you can assign spells to your right hand and spells to your left hand. You get this like magic wheel, which is pretty cool. And you can like control where the spell goes with your hand on this one, and just quick swap to like a thunderbolt. And yeah, I rarely play magic. I'm not a big magic guy in video games, but it's so much different in VR when it feels like you're actually physically casting a spell. It's so just I don't know, it's just something else. It's not the same as like other magic games. It's crazy. And there's like a pretty solid variety. You can like just light your fist on fire. You want to be like a melee fist mage. It's just crazy. Dual thunderbolts. Just use the same spell on both hands. You can dual wield wands. This is the quick menu. You can like quick swap to like 4 different items on both your left and your right. So you can have a total of like 8. And yeah, 2 wands, just spam lightning, which wands are nice because they'll increase like your intellect or give you like mana regain, stuff like that. But yeah, it's all gonna depend on what you want to do. If you want to do like a melee mage build, then yeah, you'll just go with your hands or cast like a lot of fusion magic. You can't cast fusion magic with wands, so you'll be using like no wands. And it's just crazy. It's insane how much there is in this game. So this is the skill tree, and yeah, here you can see all the magic. So there's a fire tree, and then that's where I get the fireball and all this stuff. Which, like I said, I didn't have enough skill points to get everything, unfortunately. But yeah, if you want a specific one, really gotta prioritize it. I recommend because these talents will have like multiple levels to them, so you're gonna want to put like a ton of points into one tree. But yeah, so there's ice, fire, lightning, psychic, which psychic was just like the utility spells, I guess, like the barrier where it takes my mana instead of health. You can conjure like a magic shield that lasts a few paris. And then there's a whole other tab for like two-hander attacks or strength attacks. Like you gotta be using like a strength weapon or whatever. And then you got the whole like shield counters, shield bash if you want to be using a shield. You got your dex build if you want to be using like daggers or spears. You can see like weak spots and you'll be able to like hit them and do critical damage, stun enemies. Which there is a stealth mechanic. You can kind of see the eye in the middle of the screen. It's like closed, which I'm sitting down. So let me stand up and you'll see the eye opened up. And then I sit down or like crouch and the eye closes again. So that means no one sees you. You'll have like, passives. You'll be hidden. You can get a ton of passives. You get more health based on like how much vitality you have. Potions heal more. You can get passive health regain. And yeah, they have, like I said, multiple tiers to them. So if you want to invest multiple points into them, just keep all that stuff in mind. And yeah, you get like passive physical resistance, or you can get passive attribute resistance for like all the elements. Also, the legendary items can be upgraded. So yeah, if you land those and you really like one, you can probably invest some of your honor points, which you'll get from like doing quests and stuff. And yeah, you'll increase like how long the buffs they give you last, or how much damage like the special skill does, stuff like that. And then the last page is the traits, which is just basically more passives. You'll find stuff to buff like just physical damage, or maybe shields will give you more tankiness, or melee. You can party with like no weapons, just go like straight brawler build, party with your bow. I said it like 100 times, but yeah, there is a ton of stuff. There's a quest tab to keep track of your main quest, your side quest, your completed quests, and honestly, there's quite a few side quests in the game, and some of them are pretty funny, and others are pretty rewarding because, for instance, this one wanted me to give the skeleton a drink, which I had some drinks in my bag, so it wasn't a big deal. So after helping out the poor guy, he actually gave me a permanent increase to my max HP or MP. He let me choose which one I wanted. And so, yeah, it felt like really rewarding doing some of these quests. Plus, doing them will give you honor, which is very useful for like upgrading your legendaries and their passives. Titles, they don't do nothing, they're just titles. Friends list, the online seems to work flawlessly so far for me. So, for instance, I was having trouble with the boss, and so I quit to the menu. I restart it in multiplayer mode. I host one so that way it's my progression, and I just leave it open. So there's no matchmaking, but someone will join. I hear like a clang. I turn around. Someone's there. He waves at me. I wave at him. We go through the dungeon. We find the boss. We fight the boss. We kill the boss. With voice chat being optional, of course. If one of you dies, you can just run back to the boss room while your teammate's still fighting them. That way the boss doesn't reset. You can make portals in most of the boss rooms. That way you can like go in and out while your other teammate like keeps them busy. And yeah, so we just tear up this boss. We both get loot. We both get quest progression. It doesn't kick one of us after a boss or completing an area. You can just continuously play like through the whole game. It's so perfect, honestly. It's really good multiplayer, better than some AAA games, and I love it. And I died a lot, so I'm really thankful there's no like durability and stuff like that. Wasting time going back to base and repairing my gear, stuff like that. So your standard gameplay is just you're gonna be in town, you're gonna walk around, and you're gonna find these waypoints. This is like the fast travel system in this game. There is no map. That's probably like the second like complaint I have about this game. So first one being no respect, second one being no map. Parrying is a massive part of this game, so you can parry like this guy's throw axes, you can parry fireballs, or even like deflect them with shields, which is insanely fun. Reflecting magic is always something I loved in video games ever since Zelda with the mirror shield, so the fact you could do it in here is insane. Anyways, if you die, you will drop this little sword in the stone. You're going to want to pick that up to grab your gear back. When you die, you drop everything you had equipped, and it's going to cost you some gold, so yeah, there's no durability, which I love, but you will lose gold, so just try and spend it as often as you can, I think. Also, one other thing is the music. I always appreciate good music in video games, and like every song in this game was so good. I just wish it was easier to find on YouTube because I could listen to this music when I'm not playing the game. It's that good. So I did say it's like Diablo, so yeah, you're just gonna land like a ton of items, and so you can just make a portal real quick, and it'll just teleport you back to like a safe zone that'll have like a chest, and that lets you sell like all your stuff for gold, or if you go back to the main base, you can like dismantle all your items. So yeah, you can go to the chest here, and you can just select all. If you have any locked items, it won't put that in there, kind of keeps it safe. Or you can come here and dismantle items, and this is going to give you like materials for like blacksmithing and just crafting and stuff. So I'll dismantle something to show you real quick. And so I'll put in this axe, put it in, pull this lever, and here's some crafting materials. The blacksmith will sell you some items that are in here that are like your level pretty much. But yeah, I usually don't end up buying stuff because it is usually not that good. It changes, like it fluctuates like pretty often. But yeah, I just usually just prefer to craft this stuff. I don't know. So training dummy over here, it'll tell you what kind of damage you're doing. So bludgeon, like maces, fist, or whatever. Piercing, you can pierce or slash. The damage is different depending. You can get items that like buff like one or the other. And then with the crafting materials, we can come over here and actually craft something that is our level. So this dagger is pretty old. It's level 21, but I'm like level 40 something. So you can scroll through various weapon types and decide what you want. The level at the top where it says level 0, that's going to depend on like how much resources you put into it. So since I want to make a level 40 weapon, I'm going to grab this wood, high rarity wood. Each one gives it 7 levels. So you can see level 7 right there. So I'm going to put enough to make it around my level in the 40s. When I do that, you can just kind of like push this in and go spin this thing over here. So you got to make 2 parts. So this is the first part, the wood part. And then we'll do the metal part afterwards. And you'll see the handle drop on the bottom of this like workstation. So I picked that up and then have that ready to craft. So now we're gonna go over here, same thing, put as many ingredients as you want to reach the level you want. Stick the ore into this thingy mabob, whatever it is. I really don't know what the term is for this thing. And then you can interact with this lever and just pull it down, and it kind of like smelts down the ore. After you pull it down a few times, you'll get like this ingot. Grab these tongs to pick them up, pull it over to the anvil, and then you can grab the hammer next to the anvil and just like smash it into form, which is very fun to do. Eventually it'll get this little glow, and that's when you know it's done. So you grab the tongs again and then come cool it down in the water. And yeah, I don't know, it's like a little blacksmithing simulator to make your gear, and it's very fun to do. And so once it's cooled down, we can now grab the blade and combine it with the handle we made, and then there's your new weapon. You made it your level. You can see the damage on it and the armor piercing and stuff like that, but you notice it has no stats. So what we need to do is get a whetstone, but I'm gonna go ahead and buy a legendary whetstone. This will turn the dagger into a legendary weapon. This is good for like specializing in what kind of legendary you want, I guess, because you can buy random ones, but if you want a specific like weapon type, then I think this is the way to go. And so yeah, it turned it into this legendary dagger, and so now it has a ton of stats on top of like just the uniqueness of legendary weapons. But yeah, so you can see I'm missing mana, and that's because this thing gave me like a ton of mana. So I sheath it and then pick it back up, and you see my mana just increase. I think on legendaries, some of the stats are predetermined. It's just, you'll get like the low end and high end, kind of like Diablo games. And so, yeah, the interrogation skill. Mana is super important in this game. I feel like everything costs mana, whether you're a caster or a melee build. But yeah, so I want to show off this interrogation skill. And yeah, it just keeps doing like extra slashes. It's very cool looking. And yeah, I'm just a sucker for like unique weapons like this, like Moonlight Greatsword and Souls games type of stuff. It's just so fun. Also, you can't see like your health and mana on your wrist if you want to keep that in mind. If you want, there's tons of gambling. You can go to the merchant, and yeah, these crystals are like what the loot looks like before you like break them open. And so she also has legendaries for sale at the very end of the table. And so these are cheaper than whetstones, but it's completely random. You can get any type of weapon or armor. And so I got this cool thing. Also, yeah, you can like slide your hand up and down the weapons, certain weapons, so that way like you'll have more reach, or you're trying to fight like closer. But trust me, there is a ton of legendaries in this game. It's hard to pick one that is my favorite. Like this one lets me Gandalf style, you shall not pass. You can literally get Mjolnir and just summon lightning and have it crackling on the weapon until you slam it into the ground or an enemy, and it just like destroys them. And yeah, you can get a legendary like from anywhere. So this one, my first one, was from this random barrel. And you can see the cool orange glow. Got a trophy for it. So yeah, just make sure you break everything. You never know. Also, just traversing around dungeons and areas and trying to find secrets is actually really cool. So like this floor caved in. It was like a trap to try and get me to drop to the bottom. So I avoided it. And I was like, you know what? I'm curious. So I went back. I ended up finding this cool yellow portal, which leads you to like this challenge room, which is, I'm not sure if it's random or based on the dungeon you find it in. But for instance, this one was like, it just tested my like parkour skills. I had a minute to reach the top and I did not do it, but like just look at this. It's like, what the heck? Like you gotta climb over here, grab this thing, and then like decide if you want to go left or right. There was a bunch of booby traps trying to hit me the whole time. I just had like an insane amount of fun just doing just random stuff like this. So yeah, I think I showed everything I want you guys to know about this game, and I love it. It's so much fun. My biggest problem, it just stops me from giving it like a 10, is just I don't really care about the no map. That's like not really a big issue because it's not like the game's completely massive, but I just wish I could respec. There's so many cool builds I want to try, and having to restart my character from scratch every time just to try like a lightning build or a fire build or a two-handed build, a fist build, like it's just it's too much grinding for me. I love the game, but I just like respecing is just a thing that's been in games forever. I just really wish I could do it in here. So yeah, my heart is telling me 10, 10 of 10, but my brain is saying like no, like 9, 9.5. So I'm gonna give the game a 9.9. If they ever add respecking in a patch or something, then it's just assume it's a 10. It's so good.